Hey everyone, hello. So today, we're stepping into a spiritual path that is often misunderstood, sometimes mystified, and deeply rooted in rhythms of nature. We're talking about Wiccan spirituality. For those unfamiliar, Wicca is a modern, nature-based pagan religion that emerged in the mid-20th century, largely popularized by Gerald Gardner. But while its formal structure is relatively new, its inspiration draws from ancient traditions, seasonal cycles, and humanity's long-standing relationship with the natural world. So, what exactly do Wiccans believe? And why has this path resonated with so many people seeking spiritual connection outside of traditional religious systems? At the heart of Wiccan spirituality is a deep reverence for the divine expressed through duality, both feminine and masculine energies. Wiccans often honor a goddess and a god. The goddess is frequently represented as the triple goddess, embodying the cycles of life as maiden, mother, and crone. She reflects birth, growth, wisdom, and transformation, mirroring the phases of the moon and the journey of life itself. Alongside her is the horned god, symbolizing nature, fertility, and the wild, and the cycle of life, death, and rebirth. He is often associated with forests, animals, and the changing seasons. Together, they represent balance, not opposition, but harmony, light and dark, life and death, masculine and feminine, all seen as interconnected parts of the greater whole. Unlike many religions that place divinity outside the world, Wiccans often believe the divine is immanent, present within nature itself. The earth, the wind, the fire, the waters, these are not just elements, but sacred expressions of the divine. Wicca doesn't have a rigid rulebook or centralized authority. Instead, it emphasizes personal responsibility, guided by a simple but powerful ethical principle known as the Wiccan Rede. And that is, "And it harm none, do what ye will." At first glance, it may sound like complete freedom, but there's a deeper layer. It calls for awareness, intention, and accountability. Every action, every choice carries energy and consequence. Many Wiccans also follow the belief known as the Rule of Three, the idea that whatever energy you send out into the world returns to you threefold. Whether positive or negative, what you give is what you receive. And this isn't about fear. It's about mindfulness. It encourages practitioners to act with integrity, compassion, and respect for others and the natural world. One of the most distinctive aspects of Wiccan spirituality is the use of ritual and magic. But here's where misconceptions often arise. In Wicca, magic is not about control or manipulation. It's seen as a natural force, much like gravity or energy. It's the practice of focusing intention to bring about positive change, often compared to prayer or meditation. Rituals typically begin with casting a sacred circle, a symbolic space set apart from the everyday world. Within this circle, practitioners may call upon the four classical elements: earth for stability, air for intellect, fire for transformation, and water for emotion. These elements are not just symbolic, they represent fundamental forces of both the universe and the self. Tools like candles, herbs, crystals, and symbols may be used, but they are not required. The most important element is intention. Magic, in this sense, becomes a form of alignment, bringing your inner world into harmony with the natural and spiritual forces around you. Wicca is highly decentralized. There is no single leader, no universal doctrine, and no required place of worship. Some Wiccans practice in groups called covens, small, often close-knit communities that gather for rituals, learning, and shared celebration. Others walk the path alone as solitaries, developing their own personal connection to the divine and crafting rituals that resonate with their individual beliefs. This flexibility is part of what draws people to Wicca. It allows for a deeply personal spiritual experience, one that evolves with the practitioner. There's no one right way. Instead, there's exploration, intuition, and growth. Many Wiccans believe in the immortality of the soul and the concept of reincarnation, the idea that life is part of an ongoing cycle of birth, death, and rebirth. Some traditions speak of a spiritual realm known as the Summerland, a place of rest and reflection between lifetimes. But belief about the afterlife can vary widely. Again, Wicca encourages personal interpretation rather than strict doctrine. What remains consistent is the idea of continuity, that life doesn't simply end, but transforms. One of the most beautiful aspects of Wiccan spirituality is its celebration of the seasons throughout the wheel of the year. This cycle includes 8 Sabbats, festivals that mark the changing seasons, solstice, equinoxes, and the point in between. These include Samhain, honoring ancestors and the cycles of death and rebirth; Yule, celebrating the winter solstice and the return of light; Imbolc, a time of renewal and hope; Ostara, the spring equinox and balance; Beltane, fertility, passion, and life; Letha, the summer solstice and peak sunlight; Lammas, the first harvest; and Mabon, the autumn equinox and gratitude. Each Sabbat is a chance to reconnect with nature, with the divine, and with oneself. Rather than separating the sacred from daily life, Wicca weaves spirituality into the natural flow of time. Wiccan spirituality is not about rigid beliefs or external authority. It's about connection. Connection to nature, connection to energy, and connection to the divine within and around us. This invites reflection, responsibility, and awareness of how we move through the world. Whether one sees it as a religion, a spiritual philosophy, or a personal path, Wicca offers a perspective rooted in balance, respect, and the sacredness of life itself. And in a world that often feels disconnected, perhaps there's something powerful in returning to the rhythms of the earth and remembering that we are part of something much larger.